You are an electric vehicle. Electricity powers your heart.
So I'm sure I'm not the only one that's noticed. Everywhere you look right now, there's a new ad for electric cars, and just about every automaker has started to embrace transitioning to EVs. When we first started driving an EV in 2012, we literally had only 8 options to choose from, and almost all of them had about 75 miles of range. Today though, you can choose from over 100 different EVs, and most of them have at least 250 miles of range. And with gas prices the way they are today, it makes sense that a lot of people are starting to jump ship and consider their first EV. Hey guys, I'm Kim Java, and I've been driving electric for over 10 years. And for most of that time, I've been sharing my experiences here on this channel. But if you're here watching this video, you probably already know that driving an EV can save you tons of money. I actually made a video just recently showing how driving over 30,000 miles a year saved us over $5,200 in gas in just the last 12 months. But having driven over 200,000 electric miles over the past decade, I've also learned that there's some hidden costs that honestly you'd probably never know about unless you've owned an EV for a while now. Before we get started, huge thanks to Experian for sponsoring this video. Now, even though there are hidden fees in owning an EV, one of your best ways to save money is on car insurance. In fact, with Experian's comparison tool, you can literally put your current policy to the test against what Experian finds for you and stop overpaying for insurance today. So Experian is a new way to shop for car insurance, and they've kind of cracked the code on shopping for better, less expensive auto insurance. They're licensed in all 50 states, including DC. So with their comparison tool, most people find out that they're actually overpaying for car insurance. In fact, customers save on average $961 a year with the same exact coverage. It's also dynamic since Experian actively monitors rates on your behalf to make sure you're always paying the best price. To learn more about Experian and a new way to shop for car insurance, click the link below to get started. All right, so let's just dive right into it. One of the biggest hidden expenses of EV ownership that you probably wouldn't necessarily think about has to do with your state's EV registration fee, which has been increasing at a pretty crazy rate. So you might already know when you're filling up gas, you're paying a gas tax of about 20 to 40 cents a gallon, which in theory goes towards repairing the roads that we all share. But when you're driving an EV, you're obviously not paying that gas tax. And as of the last couple of years, most US states have added that into the EV tax fee that ranges from about $50 to over $200 a year that you pay when you renew your registration. So here in Georgia, we're paying the highest EV fees in the country at over $200 a year. And the same goes for Washington State, Alabama, Arkansas, and some other states. The rates are also expected to rise to $300 a year for the next couple of years. And if you think that's a bit steep, I completely agree. Some EV owners have calculated that to justify paying $300 a year, it would be about the same as a gas tax you'd pay if you drove a gas guzzling truck for 50,000 miles a year. So it's a bit, or a lot, overkill. Another sort of surprising hidden expense that you probably wouldn't think much about is tires. So we've actually noticed this firsthand with the 5 EVs that we've owned or leased in the past decade. You'll definitely be spending a bit more to swap out those worn tires. EVs weigh much more than comparable gas cars, and you have 100% of torque available instantly, so your EV tires tend to wear out much sooner than you'd probably expect. Most tires we've changed on our Teslas cost us between $200 to $300 a tire and need a replacement generally at about 20 to 25,000 miles, where with lighter, less torquey non-EVs, you can expect closer to 35 to 50,000 miles of life out of your tires, and they're likely to be a bit cheaper too. So next is charging, and this is kind of an interesting one because this is where you can actually save big, but I'm not talking about the cost to charge here. So there is like 3 different expenses when you talk about charging. When you buy a Tesla now, for example, you have to pay for your charging cables separately. Then there's installing a charging station at your place, and even the charging fee if you leave your car plugged in too long at a public station. So a few months back, Tesla announced it wasn't going to be delivering cars with the included home charging cables anymore. And initially Elon said it would cost $400 to buy those cables separately, but after a big uproar in the community, Tesla decided to offer the cables as an add-on for just $200. Also, if you're wanting a home charging station installed, that has two expenses, namely the installation that can run anywhere between $300 to $1,500 according to HomeAdvisor. Then you have to get a trained electrician and possibly upgrade the electrical grid in your home to handle fast charging. The home charging units themselves also can run anywhere from between $400 to $700. Looking at the average utility rate in the US, charging the most common EV at home, the Model Y, will cost you about $10 to fully charge, while at a public charging station, it can cost 3 times as much. In California, drivers pay about 30 cents a kilowatt hour to level 2 charge and 40 cents a kilowatt hour for fast charging. That's about $30 to fast charge 300 miles of range from empty to full. Plus, some charging stations have idle fees to discourage you from staying plugged in too long. So Tesla superchargers cost you $1 a minute after you're fully charged, while some charge points actually have a fee of $20 an hour after 4 hours of being plugged in. Another expense that might catch you off guard is the higher insurance premiums on EVs. So there's obviously several factors behind this, and one is because EVs are still more expensive than comparable gas cars, and they are loaded with advanced tech, high capacity batteries, and other sophisticated parts. So repairing or replacing them is costly, hence the high insurance premiums. So according to insurance data, the Tesla Model 3 costs an average of $2,300 per year to insure, which is about $600 higher than the average insurance rate for a comparable sedan in the US. Okay, so I've left this one to the last one because, like I've said, I've owned all these EVs and I've even driven over 200,000 miles with them, and surprisingly, I've had little to no maintenance or out-of-pocket expenses with any of them. So obviously, most EVs have just a few dozen moving parts and are far less likely to break down. So the notion that you need new batteries after 10 years is pretty much completely false, and most EVs, especially Teslas, have batteries that are actually rated to last hundreds of thousands of miles and still give you at least 75% of their original capacity. But if you do have issues out of warranty with your EV, you really don't have too many options as far as getting them repaired. So that is because, unlike gas cars, there's no right to repair laws in place for EVs. So car makers can kind of hold you hostage for any issue that might come up. Things like diagnostic systems or parts might even only be available from the dealer, and there's almost always a pricing premium for servicing them. Because of the right to repair laws in place for gas cars, it's given room for basically an ecosystem of aftermarket car repair shops to grow. But with EVs growing so fast, it's brought the intellectual property factor back into the auto industry. So EV manufacturers can prevent an owner from tampering with the car, since the cars basically contain a bunch of electronic equipment, just like Amazon's Alexa or your iPhone. So there is that factor of having little to no options to where or how much you pay to get your EV repaired, besides taking it directly to where you bought it from. And even with all of these factors, driving electric is so much cheaper, especially when looking at the long-term ownership costs. And we've done that on this channel in so many videos. So check out this one where we compared the lifetime cost of ownership of a Model 3 to a Toyota Camry. Also, given the current market, the resale value of electric cars will sometimes even make you money. We'll link that video below too. Also, please share your experience with owning an EV or any surprising expenses or savings in the comments below. And as always, a lot of time and effort goes into writing and editing these videos, so we would really appreciate a like and a subscribe to our channel. Also, be sure to check out our website, itskimjava.com, for our high quality Tesla inspired merch. There's the popular Circle Square Cybertruck tees, and we've recently added a whole new line of Cyber Summer and Destination charging shirts for men, women, and kids, so be sure to check them out, and we'll catch you guys next time.